What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. This is my second take of taking this whole video because I recorded my entire tier list video and I had my mic muted. Like, I'm just so dumb. I can't believe I actually did that. I've done it once before, but it's just the most infuriating thing ever. Either way, we're not here to talk about my idiocy. We're here to talk about the tier list for May 2021. So this tier list that you're seeing right here on screen is the one that I had from last month. I recreated it and I've also added the additional icons of Shiroshi Manchiri, Vivi and Rebecca, and 6+ Blackbeard, all arrived in the previous month. So we're going to be adding them to the tier list and also changing around characters if need be. But of course, the way that I manipulate this tier list is through my own personal criteria, which includes the power of the legend, also the speed of the legend, how fast can they clear content, their reliability, so are they reliable at clearing that content, are they a bit finicky to use, the clear rate of the captain, right, so, you know, can they actually clear content, is there a piece of content that they can't clear, and how their usability is and their versatility, meaning like, can they be put on a lot of different teams, are they only stuck in one particular team, you know, can they be used on teams where they're not even boosted, all of those things will factor in to where I rank these characters, and I personally do, you know, lean a little more towards the captain ability side of things. So if a character has a really good captain effect and a really good special, obviously it's going to be a lot better than a character that has a terrible captain and a very good special. So let's get into it. So with this tier list, are there any characters that I want to change the order of? There will be. Now, just quickly talking about some things, I did actually limit break expand Katakuri with the previous month that had just passed, and I also limit break expand Tesoro. I actually tried to use Tesoro, but he was very, very annoying to use as a captain because I was trying to use him for some GARP challenges. And the thing with GARP challenges, or specifically quick teams, is they're not very good at them, at least not right now on Global, and using Tesoro as a quick captain for the quick GARP challenges is a little tricky. Not saying it's impossible, but it's not nice to look at in any sense, so I didn't want to go ahead and do that, but I did expand him, and he is a really solid unit, still use him a lot, mainly as a support unit on Baccarat. But the main thing that I want to talk about here is the tier 0. Now, of course, with last month's tier list, I wanted to keep it as 5 characters in the tier 0, and I'm still doing that, but what I'm going to be doing is changing the order of these characters. I don't think any of the characters in tier 0 will be dropping out, like I'm not switching any characters out of tier 0, I'm just manipulating the places within them. Now, the character that I want to be changing positions is Luffy and Sanji and Shanks' crew. I believe Shanks' crew is a better unit than Luffy and Sanji. Now, throughout this past month, I've actually been using Shanks' crew a lot, and I just found him to be a more reliable unit, or not really a more reliable, that's kind of like the wrong word, but I've been using him a lot more than Luffy and Sanji. Like, since the anniversary period, I don't think I've actually used him. Like, I used him maybe for some of those GARP challenges, right? For the GARP challenges for, like, all versus the side content or all versus the strength content. But outside of that, I haven't used them at all, and I just haven't had the reason to use them. Whereas with Shanks' crew, I actively want to use him because he's a strong character. He doesn't have many good supports, unfortunately. You know, Markino's support, that one that came out when he debuted on Global, is still an exceptional support unit, and I use her a lot. But Shanks crew himself just sees a lot more play than what Luffy and Sanji does. Well, Luffy and Sanji have a great utility effect. You know, Shanks crew with a switch effect to generate a 1.5 attack boost every single turn, as well as giving you matching slots. It's just ridiculous, man, and I just love using Shanks' crew in every sense, and that's why I personally believe that he is a better unit overall compared to Luffy and Sanji. However, I will say that for high difficulty content, like I'm talking like super duper endgame, like training forests and stuff like that, Luffy and Sanji, in my opinion, will be a better captain for that, or just a better unit in general for that because of healing mechanics and also being a rainbow attack booster for your crew on top of the healing, and especially if you use them as a captain, you get access to the overheal mechanic, which are all very, very useful. Now, I do believe that these 4 characters are the best units in the game, and I do rank them in that same position, you know, 1 to 5. You know, I do think Snake Man is the worst of these ones, but he's still a super solid unit, right? The thing is I don't know who I would actually replace, you know, Snake Man for. Like, all these characters, I mean, you could probably say that the Big Mom would be like the 5th best unit if you wanted to change the positions around. Maybe you think Big Mom's better than Kaido, and I mean, I could definitely see why you would think that. But you gotta remember, this is in the grand scheme of things against all pieces of content, which is the captain that you would want to use. I think that Roger is definitely the character I would want to use, and then Kaido would definitely be a close second. Amazing captain effect with an awesome versus effect, of course. But then, like, for Snake Man specifically, who would you put as, like, the next one? If it wasn't going to be Snake Man, who would it be? Now, Law comes to mind, I think, as well, and then Big Mom. All the rest of these characters you could probably make a pretty solid argument for. But this is another thing I wanted to talk about as well, is the fact that with this T1 right here, I had been tempted to split this into 2 tiers and then basically push everything down and then retire this tier. So drop everything out of this tier and then everything in tier 1 will be split up into 2 separate tiers. So this brings us now to what are the new characters we need to talk about. So we've got Blackbeard 6+, we've got Vivi, Rebecca, and Shirahoshi Mancherry. So talking first about Blackbeard. Now, I don't think Blackbeard is like the best super evolution that we've ever had. I think he's super solid though. And I think a lot of people will think that he's really good. And I think if you expand his limit break, I do think he is quite solid. Now, yeah, you do think, 3.75 versus 4 times. It's not a major difference, but obviously it all adds up in the end, giving you a 4 times boost, a 1.5 times health boost, and obviously attacks bypassing all barriers and defensive effects of the enemy. That is ridiculous. Obviously that's going to be very useful in every piece of content, really, just about. This is never going to be a bad ability. The only problem is he does have the condition of needing those 4 classes on your crew, and obviously with Blackbeard, you're probably not going to be running double Blackbeard in a lot of cases. It's going to be like a hybrid style situation, which means you get a really powerful, like up to 5 times captain that allows you to do this as well with Blackbeard at your helm, right? So it makes a lot of sense. I don't like his special ability though, and it's kind of weird because his special honestly is like not even as good as rare recruits and free-to-play characters that release in 2021. This is a huge slap in the face. I wish that this was significantly better because this special, man, is just not good, especially on a 14-turn cooldown. Like, come on, like bypassing defensive effects with a health cut is nothing new in 2021, and reduce bind and by 5 and then get rid of block orbs, all that on a 14-turn cooldown. You've got to be joking. That's actually a scam, dude. But of course, Blackbeard, the fact that he can hybrid well with a lot of teams is why I want to rank him in a decently high position. I think he's probably tier 3. A lot of people could probably make the argument for tier 2. I think I'm going to leave him into tier 3 right here. I don't really believe that he should be in one of these high echelon because by himself he's not very good, and you do really have to rely on other characters to make Blackbeard even better than what he currently is. But of course, he is that driving force that allows you to bypass defensive effects with his captain ability, and if you're not using him as a captain, he's a pretty average unit at best. 5-turn bind removal and block orb removal, I don't know, man. Doesn't seem that good to me. But hey, some people love him. I'm not one of those people. So there's Blackbeard. I don't really think of him that highly, honestly. But then we move on to the 2 newly released Sugo Fest exclusive characters. First one being obviously Vivi and Rebecca. Now, I do have a personal opinion as to which of these 2 I prefer. So let's go ahead and talk about them. Vivi and Rebecca, obviously Striker Cerebral all the way through, Quicken Dex unit, and for their captain effect, they are an attack booster for Striker Cerebral, they're a health booster, and they're a color affinity booster with their captain effect. I'm never really a big fan of color affinity as a captain effect because it inherently makes their base boost lower, meaning that against neutral and non-very effective hits, you're doing not as much damage as you really should be doing. But on the other side of that, if you are attacking for super effective damage, you're attacking very, very hard, which is a nice thing. But of course, you do have to plan your team effectively for that. They do make all type slots beneficial, so, all manipulation isn't going to be something you need to worry about in a lot of cases, and then reduces the chances of those tandem and recovery slots appearing, and also gives you lots of healing. So there's lots of good things to love about this unit. And then you've got their switch effect, which gets rid of special bind, heals, and gives you the chain multiplicator boost, and of course with their special works very, very well, reducing bind and special bind. So if you get like the fear debuff put on you as a sub and you get special binded, you don't have to worry about it because you can use their switch effect to get rid of special bind, which is good. Or in the situation where you get despaired and then you get special binded, you can just use their switch effect to get rid of it and then use their special to get rid of the special bind. So there's lots to love about this unit, as well as giving your Striker Cerebral 2 times orb, 2 times attack, and then you've got the chain multiplicator boost. So this unit is like the powerhouse, that's probably the wrong word to use as the powerhouse unit, considering powerhouse is a class, but this is like the heavy hitter unit for Striker and Cerebral. They're essentially a Sanji and Judge, but for Striker and Cerebral. Like, they're pretty similar in a lot of ways. But of course, they do it for 2 classes compared to 1, and their captain effect is definitely far superior in a lot of ways, and their switch effect is definitely far superior in a lot of ways. So, for those reasons, I do think that essentially it's a better version of Sanji Judge, so I'm going to just leave them in tier 1, and that's pretty much where they deserve to be. They're not a tier 0 unit in any sense. If you think they're a tier 0 unit, I think you need to get a checkup from the neck up or something, because that just doesn't work out in my head, honestly, but they're a good unit. However, I personally do prefer Shirahoshi Mancherry a little more. And because their usability in a lot of different teams. Now, yes, they are Striker Cerebral based like the other ones, and their Captain effect is also Striker and Cerebral based. However, the thing about them is their special ability doesn't matter what class, what color your Captain is, they just give you everything. So their special on a 13 turn cooldown gets rid of paralysis, poison, recovery down, blindness completely, so that's okay. I mean, I say it's okay, it's pretty nice to have, and then gets rid of despair and burn by 7 turns. So the big hitters here is the despair and the paralysis. Those two are probably the most common debuffs that you'll be experiencing among these ones that you'll see. And being able to remove a large majority of them is ridiculous. They change all orbs into rainbow. It doesn't get rid of block orbs, so you do have to get around that, but, you know, if the enemy reacts to an orb manipulator in any sense, you can just get rainbow orbs and they can't shuffle your orbs away, which is nice. So the only way that doesn't work is if the enemy gives you block orbs, and then you use, like, a special to change your orbs around, but I don't think that really happens in a lot of cases. But either way, full rainbow slots is beautiful. 1.2 chain boost, which as it stands right now is the highest chain boost in the game. A chain multiplier boost by 1.2, and also gives you the huge healing. So there's lots to like here, and as I said, this special isn't dependent on the Captain being any certain color or class or whatever. It doesn't really matter. You just get everything when you launch the special. And then you look at their switch effect that allows you to get overhealing for 1 turn. So you can switch, then use their special, you get a huge heal off of them, and in a lot of cases, that's going to allow you to overheal past your max threshold, but you don't only get the ability to overheal, you get rid of 1 turn of slot bind, special bind, and despair, and you heal 1500 health. So this is the reason why I think this character is going to be better in the long term compared to Vivi and Rebecca. Because as it stands, Striker and Cerebral, they are a pretty good class set. Well, I do think Cerebral is good. Striker are a little bit on the weaker side of things. So until Striker and Cerebral receive a huge comeback, I don't really see Vivi and Rebecca like exceeding where they are right now. They're just going to be around their same level until like a new set of Striker and Cerebral stuff comes out, and then this character is going to be an absolute god. But as it stands now, I do think Shirahoshi Mancherry is honestly just a better unit that we'll see a lot more play comparatively to this character. And of course, they're both Striker Cerebral captains, so if you do need to run a Striker or a Cerebral team, you can run pretty much either of them. Even though Vivi Rebecca does give you more damage, I think the damage is more accessible for Shirahoshi Mancherry, though you do have to beat your high HP thresholds, which is a little bit annoying, but their captain effect allows you to get good healing, so long as you're not getting hit by a huge health cut and you're not allowed to heal, Shirahoshi Mancherry would be a pretty optimal choice, but I don't think running double of them is a good choice. I think I'd probably run a maybe like a hybrid of some sort with one of these other top units here. Is probably the way that I would go about it. Personally though, I'm not a big fan of dual units, so me putting dual units this high, I don't like doing it, but man, these units are pretty solid. Obviously I did pull Shirahoshi Mancherry. I've been using the character. The character is pretty awesome, so that's my opinions on Shirahoshi Mancherry though, and that's basically it. There isn't really too many other changes that I feel comfortable making at this point. The only thing, as I said towards the start of the video, is potentially splitting up tier 1 and then dropping all the characters out of tier 5 and pushing everything else down so that we can make room for an additional tier to split this tier up. I think that probably makes a lot of sense just because there's a lot of characters in this tier, and some of the characters I mentioned, like some of these ones here, like Snake Man, Luffy, Law, and potentially like Sabo Koala as well, aren't as strong as the ones that surround them, but either way. That's my thoughts and opinions on the May tier list. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video today. Definitely one of my shorter tier list videos that I've made, but just not really many things to talk about this time around. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. And if you guys did, make sure to go ahead and hit the like button. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.